Hello, everybody. I hope the first week went okay. Forgive me if your screen looks a little more, well, a little different than mine, but I'm working in my setup here, so the student view of the Moodle page is a little different. So what I have here is what you're going to be doing January 15th through the 22nd, and obviously I'm doing this ahead, so that's why that has that there. So I have the steps that you need to follow for the module. Read the lesson on literary analysis, and then go through the steps to familiarize yourself on what's coming up. So you're going to complete the steps of the literary analysis. That's right here. Writing a literary analysis, I'll probably take that off because we're going to do on the next week. But I want you to read the poem that is right here, The Rose That Grew from Concrete by Tupac Shakur. Then look at the forum here. That is where you're going to answer the questions that I gave you here, and I'm going to show you that in just a minute, and then complete the quiz on the literary analysis here. So I have here, I'm going to skip this and this and go straight to this because that's just reading over the steps for literary analysis to prepare yourself, and then this gives you some more information, but this is where I want you to really focus. So before you read the poem, you need to consider some things, or as you prepare to read the poem. Think about how the artist and poet Shakur uses metaphor. If you don't know what metaphor is, if you click here, it'll take you to an explanation and definition of metaphor, right? So then, how do you think there's any irony in the poem? If you don't know what irony is, again, that's a link, just like I showed you here, that takes you to explain and define irony. And then personification, same thing. So now that you've thought and learned about the literary devices, how does Shakur use these in his poem? What metaphor does he use? What is ironic? What does he personify? Is there any contradiction in the poem? So you're going to answer those questions in that forum. So after you look over this to prepare you, then read the poem. So here's the poem. It's really short. The rose that grew from concrete. Did you hear about the rose that grew from a crack in the concrete? Proving nature's law is wrong, it learned to walk without having feet. Funny, it seems, but by keeping its dreams, it learned to breathe fresh air. Long live the rose that grew from concrete when no one else ever cared. So if you don't know anything about Tupac Shakur, I have a link I put on here. I put it on here somewhere. I think it may not be showing up, but there will be a link to his bio, and I will find it and make sure you see it when you open up your Moodle page as you're viewing this particular video. But going back to the poem, just to give you a little bit of guidance, do you know anything about roses? Now, I'm no good at growing things, but my dad grew roses. And I know from watching my dad over the years, they are very delicate, and they take a lot of upkeep in order to get them to grow. So remember that last question in there that said, do you notice any contradiction? If you look in that first line, a rose growing from a crack of concrete. Could that be a contradiction? Just a hint there. So then I'm not going to give you any more hints, but make sure that you go through and look over these questions and look at the links if you're not familiar, or if it's been a while and you need to remind yourself of what these things mean. And then, so once again, this week, look over the steps for literary analysis, look over the writing a literary analysis. Do this before you read the poem, because that's preparing your mind as you prepare to read the poem. Then read the poem. Then answer these questions I give you here in this forum, okay? And talk to one another, discuss it, so that if you're stuck, a classmate can help, or you two might have the same exact question. And then there's the literary analysis quiz, and just take a look at this. This is an example someone wrote of a literary analysis talking about metaphor and society in Shelley's sonnet. So there's that, and that's what you'll be doing for this week. Hope you have a good week.